No.
It's just letting you know.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Adams Brothers Podcast. We are here today with the Vice Mayor, Ben Preston. He is also the District 2 Commissioner here in Deerfield Beach, and we're going to be asking Commissioner Ben Preston some questions with some concerns about the community. So good evening, Commissioner Vice Mayor Preston.
Good evening.
Okay, so it's been a lot of, I'm sure your cell phone has been inundated with calls here in the last couple of days here concerning the MLK, the cancellation of the MLK Day festivities. Mm-hmm. And we all do understand that there's COVID out there and everything, and we're not condoning that, COVID is out there. But some people, weren't informed, and they say that they didn't know and everything. So I want to ask you to kind of like come on here and clear this up as much as you can, and tell the citizens of Deerfield Beach and the taxpayers, why was the MLK festivities canceled, and did the MLK committee cancel the MLK Day festivities, and is it going? Did they? Well, let me just say, did they cancel the MLK festivities? The committee.
Well, first of all, Daryl, I'd like to thank you and Wayne for inviting me. I think these kinds of channels for communication are important. However challenging they may be, yes, my phone has been inundated with calls about MLK and really what happened. So again, thank you for giving me this chance. And let me just say to everybody, the MLK is, and I understand this is a huge event for us. This is the signature event, yes, for District 2, but for the city of Deerfield Beach as well. This was a great, great American who did great things in our country, who excels in agenda in this country of civil rights to which we now all enjoy. I want to just say that to come to a decision to cancel it was not an easy decision. But I want to first inform all of the viewers that I, as a commissioner, do not have the authority to say that we can have it or not have it. That is the call of the city manager. The city manager ultimately made that call. But you just asked a question: did the committee, does the MLK committee, did they cancel it? Let me say this: that the African American Heritage Board, which I put into existence to be able to put together an agenda for the community. That's why I put that board in place, so that they could work in conjunction with staff to be able to commemorate the day that it needs to be commemorated. But they, again, all boards are simply an advisory board to the commission. Did they want it to go ahead? No, they did not. They thought it should be canceled. And when the city manager contacted me and advised me that his decision was going that way, that he didn't think it was a safe thing, and taking into consideration what we were dealing with at the time, I felt that it'd be the right thing as well. We are not. It's not just an epidemic. This is pandemic. This thing is very, very, very serious. Let me also say, Wayne, Darrell, that when the city manager informed me, I told him that we must look forward to another date that we could commemorate Dr. King. Now, whether that would be at Black Heritage, I don't know. It'd be at Black Heritage, but Black Heritage is next month. I don't know that we'll be past this thing. I think Juneteenth would be more of a realistic time that we could commemorate it, if not before. But that's kind of what happened going into it, how the cancellation took place. It was a kind of a last minute. We held off and held off and held off. But in the end, just like I want the MLK event to take place, there's something else that I have to take into consideration, giving my opinion to the city manager, and that is the safety of the people that I represent. And it would not have been a good thing. And so that decision was made to cancel.
Okay. Because again, I'm sure your phone was inundated with calls, and I know I got a lot of calls, and my brother Wayne got a lot of calls, and we didn't have an answer for them. So what better to hear from our District 2 commissioner, so that's the reason we wanted to bring you on here, so they could hear it, because a lot of people, for whatever reason, maybe they're just not computer savvy or anything, and they don't know how to go on the website. I know people in my family aren't computer savvy, and they just don't know how to work cell phones, and for whatever reason it is, that they said that they weren't informed about the cancellation, and which brings me to my second question for you, Commissioner. Why wasn't there a plan B? And when I say there was a plan B, we know that there's COVID. Also, we know that it puts us all at a greater risk of catching COVID. So the plan B, why wasn't the plan B to have the festivities outside? And that's been a lot of talk that, we've gotten, as well as, just talking to people that's called us, and it could have been moved out on the football field. And what I did myself, I went down to the city of Pompano. And I know that some of your colleagues, they always say, well, why do they always want to compare us to Boca Raton and Pompano and Del Rey? But I went down to see exactly how Pompano would handle this pandemic, and what was their plan B. So Pompano had their festivities outside. They had it on a mobile stage. They had a live DJ. They had music, food trucks, everything. Everybody had their mask on. And I'm wondering, why wasn't the same thing done here in Deerfield? Why couldn't they just have moved it out on the football field and asked everybody who wanted to attend to wear a mask and make it mandatory if you wanted to attend, and just come on out and, just have a good time on the football field as safely as possible? I'd like for you to answer that, please.
Or in the back of the park.
Yes. Okay. Now, when you said that you went down to Pompano, let's keep into consideration that Pompano initially canceled it. They canceled. They said, no, it's too dangerous. And then at the last minute, they jumped back in. We decided that the best way to not expose people, because what do we know about the Omicron variant? That it is much more contagious than is the Delta. That's outdoors or whatever. And so again, you still take that risk of safety and exposing people. And we have a lot of people in this community that are elderly and that would want to be a part of something like that. And if we expose them, if they have not been properly vaccinated, those people now are at risk. And let me just say that as we look at things now, it's looking that the Omicron variant is peaking, but people are still dying because of this. And we know that it's a lot of people that haven't been vaccinated, but it proposes a significant risk. Would that have been the right thing? I'm not convinced that it would have been, to still put people in harm's way. And so the decision was made by the city manager, And I believe that he made the right decision. It's not to expose people and put them in a position that, you could have that type of thing. So it was a different thought process. We're in Pompano canceled. They thought best that you shouldn't have it, and then they jumped back into it at another time. So, we can second guess it, but I think that this decision that was made was the best that could be made under the circumstances in which we were presented.
Well, COVID isn't going anywhere.
No,
It's not going anywhere, and it's going to be here for Juneteenth, Black Heritage. It's going to be here for Founders Day, Pioneer Day. It's not going anywhere, and we need to come up with. Just canceling all the events. We understand that we are in the middle of a deadly pandemic. Yes, we all understand that, and I just think there should be a plan B, something more for the residents to look forward to. And again, I don't want to make it seem like you still want to have something, but I'm trying to get answers for the community.
I understand.
And the outrage that we got and all the calls that you got, and we're just trying to get answers for them.
Yeah, I understand, and you have every right to ask those questions, and I'm happy to answer those questions because I know that the community is wondering. But I will still say to you that I personally know people who recently have passed away because of COVID. And when you say that COVID is not going anywhere, that doesn't mean that we can now make decisions based on the fact that we say that it's not going anywhere. I think, Daryl, that it is our responsibility. It's incumbent upon us to make the right decision for those people, that we represent. Yes, listen, it was not easy, again, to reiterate, it was not easy to cancel the MLK event. I would personally much rather, see that it go on. But what was the right thing to do? And when we look at something, outdoors, I think that you have less of a chance. But we also know that this virus, this particular strain, was more contagious than the Delta. And so therefore, no matter where you are, people could get it. They just had a thing about people who were vaccinated on this cruise line. I guess you might have even heard about it. Everybody on the ship, everybody came up positive. Now, what we won't get a follow-up on, what percentile of those people that was on that cruise will get really, really sick, and unfortunately, what percentile might eventually pass away. And so I think that until we get a strong handle on this thing so that we're not exposing people, sometimes tough decisions have to be made, and it have to be made, with safety in mind.
Yes, and Commissioner, Pompano did initially cancel, but as far as I was reading the Pompano Pelican, I believe one of the commissioners, Cindy Floyd, said that there was some miscommunication between the city manager and the commission. So I just wanted to correct that.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I just know that they officially did cancel, and and then they turned with that. And I don't think that we need to mimic. I think sometimes we can look at another city, and if we can learn something. For instance, I don't think it's just the idea that we know that they changed. I think we need to ask questions. Why did you change? I mean, what made you change that decision? And we had to look at all of those factors, look at those things, and then we have to determine this: is it appropriate for the city of Deerfield Beach based on something that another city did? Should we change? Now, if we continue going south, Fort Lauderdale didn't change their mind. They canceled, and that's it. So you're going to find cases where this sort of thing happens. But I will guarantee you, I haven't talked to anybody from Fort Lauderdale, but I can guarantee you they thought whatever the venue would be, and I'm sure theirs is not going, their entire agenda was not indoors. They had some outdoor things planned. Most often every city does, but in spite of it all, they probably, gathered in the end and that it would be too much of a risk for their residents to be able to do that. So you have Pompano as the outlier that did it, but so many other cities canceled and they didn't change.
Right.
Okay, Commissioner. And being that the festival was canceled, where were the funds that were allocated for the MLK Day? Where would those funds go?
That's a very good question, Wayne. Those funds are not taken away. And let me just say this. As I said, I told the city manager, he and I discussed it, that I would like to see a date in the near future of where we could commemorate it. Now, if that presents itself, those funds will be utilized. But those funds that were there for MLK it doesn't go back into general fund. Those funds are still viable for a celebration to be utilized when you pick a date or whatever. The point being is that the city doesn't absorb those funds and say, now those funds, because you didn't have it, no longer exist.
And for our viewers that's just joining us, if we're here live with on Facebook on the Adams Brothers Podcast, we're live with Vice Mayor Ben Preston, and he's also our District 2 City Commissioner as well. And we're asking him about the cancellation of the MLK Day festivities. And if you have any question that you would like for us to read to the and give to the commissioner, put it in the comment section, and we'll read the comments, your comments to the commissioner. Wayne?
Yes, Commissioner, what were some of the calls like that you received after the festival was canceled? Did you get calls before or after the festival was canceled? What were some of the calls like? Not, you don't have to call them names or anything, but just tell us the nature of some of the calls.
Okay. Again, that's a very good. I would tell you that I had called asking, and this was before the decision actually had been made. Are you guys going to cancel? I said to some of the constituents that did call me, I go, at this point it's still on, but I think that they're leaning toward canceling. As you know, that there's a breakfast every year over at Westside by Kiwanis West to commemorate Dr. King. Those that were involved with that were pretty upset that we weren't going to have it. And again, that point of view was shared. There were other calls that was said that we didn't know that it was canceled. This is after the fact, that we didn't know that it was canceled. And I said to those people, the information was there. There was multiple channels by which the information was communicated, and anyone that was really truly investigating it would have found that information, and and they would have been informed. Part of it was like on Facebook, the city Facebook page. I gave a video. I was on that video and I stated that the festivities, unfortunately, was going to be canceled due to safety reasons. And so that basically was kind of like some of the calls that I got. But I'm also say this, Wayne, I got calls that was this. I figured you guys were going to do that. It was the best thing. It was the best thing. It wasn't 100% one way, nor was it the other way. But there were people who disagreed with that decision. But there were people who agreed, that contacted me.
And some of the calls that you received, Commissioner, were they pretty much from the older generation or the younger generation? Because I think I think more of the younger generation is more outraged than probably I would say the older. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I'm gonna think that you must have been talking to somebody, and maybe you weren't, but but you're 100% right, because that's exactly what it boils down to. A lot of people in the older generation said to me, "I understand, and I don't think you should have it." People that were younger felt that we should have had it. But I want to also say this. I think it's easy. When we start dividing amongst generations, I think it's easy to say that one group can endorse more than another. But we have to be careful about that, because when those younger people did call me, I made them aware of what the thought process was. Because I hate to say this, but there was almost accusations that the city was purposely taking away MLK simply because, that's District 2 kind of signature event. And that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. Because at that point,
we don't believe that.
Okay.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say that's not true. There was no conspiracy on the part of city staff to say we're going to take MLK Day away, but we're going to have other days, that commemorate other things in the city. But MLK Day we're going to take away. You got to remember, there's an African American Heritage Board comprised of 5 Black women, all Black women, and not one of them agreed that we should have this. And so there was an influence of them talking to staff about whether it would be the right thing to do to have this, and to let's look and have a bigger event down the road. But the idea that staff amongst themselves plan to take away MLK is not true. That's just simply not true. And if I would tell you, Daryl, if that was the case, I would tell you. I would say, you know what? There's a problem here, and that staff did that because if they did, and I'm telling you that didn't take place, then that means that I'm aware of certain knowledge, and I'm siding with staff against the residents and the taxpayers of District 2, and I would never do that, and that just did not happen. I was looking at the situation. I was in close communication with the city manager, who has the ultimate authority. I can say whatever I want. The mayor can say whatever he wants, but no one commissioner has that ability. We trust the city manager to make decisions based on, his assessment of knowledge, and you make those decisions based on what is best for the residents of Deerfield Beach.
Yes, Commissioner, you spoke of conspiracies about people made accusations on the phone to you about the city trying to take away the MLK Day parade. And I want you to kind of understand where some of those thoughts come from. And I'm gonna elaborate on some things. If you go back, Commissioner, and you look at when a lot of the Blacks were washing cars, the city came and started harassing them about washing the cars and where they were washing the cars, and actually too, the city, to try to sabotage the washing of the cars. It used to be a tank over at the East Water Plant over near Popeyes, and I remember when the people used to come fill their tanks up that were washing the cars. I also know that they knocked the water plant down. But I think a lot of those conspiracy theories come from, and which, if you ask me, I think it's some facts too. Some of what they're saying about the city sabotaging the Black businesses. just like they did with the car washing. They were harassing the guys, telling the guys they can't wash cars here, they can't wash cars there. Then they took the water tank that they used to pay like a quarter. They took that. Now all the guys that wash cars here have to go to Boca just to get water for their cars. That's number one. Now you go to the food trucks. You got food trucks over off of 10th Street. You got black businesses, black people that are starting businesses with the food trucks. And what does the city do? The city comes right over there and tries to sabotage that. They come with all these rules and ordinance to sabotage the black business. And black success has always been met with white backlash. So I think a lot of those theories that you're saying plays right into that hand of why a lot of people are thinking like that.
Well, I think that you make a good point, Wayne, in that I don't know the history of everything, but I can tell you that I believe that much of some of what you're saying has validity, but it doesn't in all cases. And whenever we have those types of situations where we can say, hey, there's some sort of a disparity here, then we have to be able as a unified community to be able to deal with those things and to be able to fight those things. I think that when it comes to the food trucks and that sort of thing, you have heard me on the dais say that these are people trying to make a living, and they shouldn't be harassed. And anytime that a city uses its power to make what can be balanced and equal, make it unbalanced because they possess more power than you, then that city has failed its residents. And I can tell you that I would never sit still for anything like that without challenging it and making sure that the people in the entire city be representing in a way that they were comfortable, that they would be comfortable with. Listen, we know where all the economic challenges are. They're in our district. For the longest time, our district has not moved like it could have moved economically because of a myriad of problems. And but it's incumbent upon all of us to recognize what those things are, whether it's food trucks, whether it's whatever it could be, that seems to isolate and point a finger where black businesses, are not being treated fairly. And, if we sit still for those kinds of things and sit silent, that's where the problem is, Wayne. I would challenge people to say this. If you felt like, let's say, let's take the food truck issue. Now, you and your brother have been vocal on those kinds of things, which I applaud. And you were there when we was talking about having some sort of ordinance, for safety and that sort of thing. But you need people to be able to come to city commission meetings and say whatever it is that they need to say. A lot of time what happened in these city commission meetings is that when an ordinance is passed or a resolution is passed, it's the backlash after that people will say, well, this is unfair, or that's unfair. Where you need to hear them is before something is passed, coming in front of the commission and saying, think about this or whatever. And then let's just say if there is an action by the city commission or city staff to actually isolate a particular group based on race, religion, or what have you, it would be more easily exposed rather than a reactionary to something that is passed. Now, what I have done personally is what I thought that it was unfair. I did say that it's unfair. You were there when I said that it was unfair that what was happening to the businesses. And guess what? One of my colleagues said that as well, Commissioner Fernandez. So you have people that are on that dais that can see it more than one way.
And you're right, Commissioner. When I called you, you were very responsive to the food trucks, but they still made those ordinance. And I know one business owner, they just kept harassing them about something they needed for the fire. And those people, actually, if you go out there now, it's like maybe one food truck out there. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, here we are in a community. We are already in a pandemic. People are trying to survive. A lot of people out of work.
That's right.
A lot of people catching the virus now, and they're not getting paid now. So then you have the city doing a pandemic, tries to come out there and just, it's economic deprivation what they pulled out there, and they tried to hide under the guise of safety. And when I called them out, they get mad. They always get mad. They stop responding to the emails that I send. They just stop responding. And they act like a bunch of little kids, when it's like, okay, I'm gonna take my ball and bat and I'm gonna go home now when you call them out. But you know what? They're elected here in this city, and they should be accountable to the people. And when you hold them accountable, Commissioner, then they want to. It's I can see where a lot of the young people are frustrated here, Commissioner, because even when they bring, they want to have music out on the road, and I mean in the neighborhood, and I understand, but they really don't have anything really to go. I mean, the park was shut down for a good while, so I don't know what do the younger people have to do. We have to find some type of avenue for them to do, because a lot of people are COVID stressed out right now.
And I think that that's true for all of us. But one thing I wanted to mention, and I'll address that. But going back to the food truck issue briefly, there was one food truck that actually relocated, and I definitely see other trucks that are over there. So it wasn't a thing of eliminating those trucks, because if you remember, the state of Florida, by statute, said you cannot drive these people out of business. Okay, now you have the ability to regulate safety, but you can't shut them down. So one of the trucks did relocate, and I also, just so you know, I said openly, I think that certain people are being picked on. You're finding things that you just just not that pertinent to what's happening. Okay, they're just you're finding things. And I also said this: if you're going to do something in terms of writing them tickets, or you do it on your own. You're not gonna get my support. And so no one can say, you won't find anybody from the city say, well, Commissioner Preston wanted this done, or whatever the case is. That's just not the case. You've been at the city commission meetings when I've spoken on this sort of thing, and we see the results of it. Now, to address the thing about young people and music, let me also tell you there's another side to that, Wayne. And I personally have firsthand knowledge of this because I've dealt with it multiple times. I've had calls that, Commissioner, my windows are shaking. Okay. I have personally driven to areas where those complaints were. And let me tell you, it was wrong. I have no problem with young people getting involved and, and them, kind of flapping their wings, to use that phrase. But what I've seen on every account was everything but that. I saw a stack of speakers as tall as my house, more than 8 feet long. You just set up and start playing music, and people have to go to work, and you have no permit to do that, no special event. You just do it. When I drove through the crowd, there was pot, there was all kinds of things that was going on, and I am never going to condone that sort of thing. I got a call, Wayne, of some young people called me up. Commissioner, we're just out here playing music and the police is harassing. Now, that was the call. And I immediately began to just kind of think how that could have gone. Like maybe the police is being a bit heavy-handed on kids on a Sunday out at West Side playing loud music. But Wayne, that's not what it was. When I went out there, there was a mushroom cloud that was absolutely ridiculous. People breaking the law, music going on. They didn't tell me that they were smoking pot. What they said was the police was breaking them up. Truth of the matter is, the police could have taken a lot of people to jail that day. They did not. They did not. So I have no problem with people wanting to, have some fun. Hey, we were all young. We were all, out there at one time or another, but there's a way to do things. And
Yes.
you cannot break the law, then call me to have the police basically leave you alone so you can break the law, smoke pot, and do the things you wanted to do. When I got out of my truck, I couldn't believe it. And I told the young man that called me, don't ever call me again. Do not ever call me again, because you're breaking the law. And you know that you're breaking the law. You called me and told me that the police was coming down on you because you guys were playing loud music. Were they playing loud music? Yes, they were. Was the police present there? Yes, they were. Were the police breaking it up? Yes, but he forgot to tell me about all the pot and everything that was going on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we agree with you on that 100%, Commissioner. And nobody condones that. You have to follow the rules. And you just have to follow the rules. And again, we're talking to Commissioner Ben Preston. We're live on Facebook, Adams Brothers Podcast. And I want to read you some of the comments that, some of the people are saying as far as as it relates to the MLK Day festivities. Annette Mitchell said, yes, safety is the issue. Desmond Wilson said funds should at least go to Juneteenth. Barry McMillan said, yes, safety is very important. And that Mitchell came back again and said, thank you, Commissioner. I agree with the decision to cancel MLK that was made. I believe was best for our community, especially our elderly. So you do have people that, support what the city has done. And, no, not everybody is angry, of course. And we all know that safety comes first. And Barry McMillan also said, correct, Wayne, the city has to make some changes when it comes to equity. And that Mitchell came back again and said, yes, safety is the issue. And pretty much that was it. Those are some of the comments that people have been putting in the comment section. And again, if you're watching live on Facebook and you have a question for the commissioner, put it in the comment section and we'll get to it and read it. And another question that I have, as far as keeping people informed, and we know that the elderly, I know people in my family aren't computer savvy. Again, I say that they're not as computer savvy as you or Wayne or me.
The elderly.
Right.
But how, it has to be some type of way that we can get the message out to them. What about text alerts? How could the citizens sign up for text alerts, and they could come directly to their phone and they'll get the alert and they don't have to go on the website? Could you elaborate on that?
I would say, first of all, that those that would be challenged with dealing with social media could still have some of the same issues with texting and receiving texts, and that being a way to say that you communicate. But let me say this: I'm for anything that we can do that would make it easier for people to receive information. That's the bottom line. I remember talking to you, Wayne, when we had that survey, that stormwater survey. You remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. And you said that the best way to reach people was social media. And I thought that was good. You and I have had conversations where you told me, you got to reach people, and the more you do it with using those channels of social media would be effective. We have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have the mayor's Facebook page, and there's also an email blast that goes out that, like for this last event, that reached over 7,000 people. And some of those being the pastors in the city that is able to ascertain that information and share it with their congregation. Okay. Now, if I would say this is that I would advise everybody, let's say you want to know what's going on, is to go to the city, page and go to the emails, and you could get that on your phone, and you just click sign me up, and that would be a good way. Could texting be a viable alternative? It could be. I don't have a problem with looking into that and maybe implementing that. Again,
It's active now.
Excuse me, sir?
It's active now, the text message.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, for the city to do what they need to do to include, text messaging. We have a media department that could, do that sort of thing. I don't have an issue with that. The bottom line is that the city, and I think it's our responsibility, the city, is to do everything that it can do to reach our people. I can tell you that there are people in our city, as far as our media department is concerned, that really do a pretty good job. They do a good job of, getting that information out there. Do you reach everybody when you do that? No, but as I just was telling you, there is a very big venue that we have as far as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, email blast. And this last, when we canceled this, it was on the front page of the Pelican. You have the city website. So there's multiple channels that the city uses to get information out to the people. And I don't think it can be just one thing. I think it has to be a lot of different things, whether we're using 2 channels, 5 channels, whatever is available to us, we need to be able to do that to ensure that the information is getting out to the people. So that's my take on that.
Also, Commissioner, some of the calls that we've gotten, a lot of the citizens said they think that you should have your own Facebook page, and you should put some of those things on your page. I heard you mention the mayor, and I heard you mention Twitter and email and Instagram and all of those other social media sites. But some of the calls that we got, they specifically said that they think that our commissioner here in District 2 should at least have his own Facebook page and should put some of that stuff on his Facebook page to inform the residents as well. What do you say to that?
It's something I can look into.
Okay, Commissioner, on Facebook, about 2 days ago, actually on that Monday evening, it was some very, very upset people on Facebook, and it was a lot of comments. I read a lot of comments on there, and some of the comments were blaming you. Not a lot, but a few people blame you directly. What do you say to the people that are saying you are not accessible or are not doing anything in the district? What do you say to those people?
Well, then I would say to them, and this is not to make any type of accusations, but if you say that I'm not doing anything in the district, then you really haven't been following me. Wayne, I'm going to tell you, and I say this to you, Darryl, as well. I'm committed to this district. I work hard trying to get things done in this district. When you say I'm not doing anything in the district, do you remember that when I came to office, you did not have the pack of rattlers? Okay, they were gone and had been gone for a while. And my first time when I came back to office, I was able to get the pack of rattlers back. The MLK Day Parade was on a Saturday. People said, hey, we don't want it on a Saturday. They was upset. It is now back on a Monday and has been, okay? People were telling me about, all of the situations that they were having with code and the liens that we're putting on there. We have programs that are in place to help people in situations like that. And those things have cleared up a lot to try to establish and have better communication with code compliance than there ever was. Right now, the city of Deerfield Beach is only one city. They don't have it in Pompano. You was talking about Pompano before, but here's something that Pompano don't have. Pompano do not recognize Juneteenth as an official holiday. What does official holiday mean? It means that City Hall is closed and the employees have it off. I was able to get that through. So for people who are saying that I'm not doing anything, City of Deerfield Beach has, by resolution, Juneteenth as an official holiday. When that comes up, the employees in Deerfield Beach will be off and City Hall will be closed. Okay, you look around and see how many cities has that. And by the way, since we were able to do that here in the city of Deerfield Beach, there's several cities, Tamarack, Pembroke Pines, I think Lauderhill, other ones that have followed suit, have called me up and say, thank you, Commissioner, for leading that charge. I have put in place African American Heritage Board for them to have a say-so in what's going on in the community. So when you say that I'm not doing anything, then you're not doing your research. You're not investigating because there's been multiple things that are being changed. I was able to get, we haven't been able to celebrate it because of this pandemic, but the commission unanimously approved a community day, a day of diversity. Okay, I pushed that through. The street that leads out to Westside Park, over to the Johnny Tigner Center, it is called Deputy Harold Morrison Street. I put that through. So when you make those accusations, and for whoever may make them, you're wrong. I'm serving you. I want to serve you. I will continue to serve you. But if you're saying that, you're saying it in error. And I would suggest that you either call me and challenge me to say, show me what you're doing. And I would do that. You can call me at 954-728-5886. 954-728-5886. Since I got into office, everything that I ran on and more, Wayne, I have done. I haven't, there are initiatives coming out of the new Johnny Tigner Center, as you well know, that you guys brought up about the expanded banquet hall. I didn't fight you on that. I supported you in that. Okay, yeah. And I was very vocal about that. And as a result of that you still need 3 votes, whether I supported you or not. You still have to have 3 votes to say to the residents of Deerfield Beach, we're going to spend an additional $1 million of your money. Okay. Well, guess what? We got that through. So people that are saying that, I think, is unfair. I'm not mad at them, but you're not doing your homework. You got to do your homework. I'm working hard. I'm getting things done because the people who put me in position to be able to fight those things. You've seen me on the dais, going through debates and being challenged. But guess what? Those things are not easy, but you still, in the end, are charged with the responsibility to get things done. I have not sat idly. And another thing is, Wayne, when people call me, I'm not hard to find, Wayne. You call me, I answer my phone. And guess what? If you don't get me, you know that I'm going to call you. And the other thing is, if I can't get a visual about what your complaint is, I go to the site. I go to where you are. Okay. I'm not a guy that's hiding. You need something done, you call me. Okay. Whether that's with whatever situation. So for people who say that, it doesn't hurt me or anything. I just look at them as misinformed. See, I can't let my emotions or my feelings get intertwined in what I'm supposed to do. I got a job to do. I take that job seriously. And guess what? I'm getting things done and will do so as long as I'm commissioner in District 2. That's it. I welcome that challenge from anybody. They want to call me and tell me that I'm not doing anything, call me and we'll talk about it, because you're wrong.
I can say this on my behalf, Commissioner. Every time I called you, you always, if you didn't answer, you always called me back. I can say this too. Everyone that has held that seat you're in right now, from Commissioner Reed all the way up until right now with Commissioner Portier, Commissioner Battle, to now Commissioner Preston, I held everyone accountable. I called them. We had spirited debates. They didn't agree with me probably the majority of the time. They probably got off that phone and called me a radical, which I heard some of them say. They think I don't know they said it, but they called me radical. And but the thing is, I did not allow my disagreement with them to hinder me from continually to call them and hold them accountable and give them ideas on how I think our district should continue to run or operate. So I can say this, everything I think me and Darryl have came to you about concerning bettering this district, you have been very responsive to us. I can't speak for the rest, and I'll say this to the people that's out there. I don't understand how you can say a person is not doing anything when you have not picked up the phone to talk to that person. And as I told you in many conversations, you're one vote, you're only one vote. You have three, you have a majority, pretty much a majority rule here. So most of the time, everything you're fighting for here, they fight you on it. And I've seen you go continue, to fight even, after being frustrated from what I seen on the dais, I seen you fighting. But again, I don't know how people can say, well, Ben is not doing anything when they never have even picked up the phone to have a conversation with you. And I mean, and I'm not taking up for you because you can defend yourself. And people, whether the people know or not, me and you have had many disagreements on that phone. Correct. You have heard me, you have heard my raw emotions on that phone with you at times. And I can sit here and say everything we called you about. I called you here about the testing center. You jumped right on it. We have a testing center out at Oviedo McKeithen Park right now. So as I can say on my behalf on the things I called about, I didn't win every battle that I called you about, but you heard me. And that's all I wanted everyone that sit in that seat to do, is hear what their constituents has to say.
And let me just piggyback on that too. Commissioner, I know that you have broad shoulders. When you're a commissioner, when you're an elected official, you have to have broad shoulders. People are going to say, you haven't done anything, you're not doing this and you're not doing that. You can't please everybody. But I know, and I'm here to tell everybody that's watching Facebook Live out there, every time I call this man, he calls me back. Okay, he might not answer when I call him. I don't get upset about it, but he will call me back. And I'm telling you, I support you. I don't, again, like Wayne, I don't always agree with the answers that you give me sometimes, but there's always a place in the middle where you can meet and come to an agreement.
That's correct.
With that being said, I mean, again, for people to say that, they don't really know you, and I wouldn't just sit on here and just let people assassinate your character or, say bad things about you without defending you. And I just won't do that. You know me, you know my brother. We're not that type of, we straight up. What you see is what you get with us. We don't sugarcoat
That's true.
anything. And if you ever talk to us in public, we are very, very passionate about Deerfield Beach. And some people mistake our passion for being angry. And that's not true. And then for those people out there that think that Adams Brothers are angry, then you absolutely don't know us. You absolutely don't know us. Let me just read some of the questions, some of the comments here. Barry McMillan says the community has to get involved. One person can't do it by themselves. Residents in District 2 has to get involved. I agree with you, Barry. And Vice Mayor Preston has been very responsive. And Dr. Lawana Howard Strobridge, she says, hi, basically, no one will be able to please the entire city community if you compare the old versus the young opinions. It will be controversy, especially when trying to make a logical decision. Let me hit the button here. The logical, where did I leave off here? I'm just trying to make a logical decision in the midst of a pandemic. And Ella Porter says, very responsive and hard and working hard for all the people. Desmond Wilson, keep fighting. Thank you to all. Ella Porter, absolutely don't know all of you all. And finally, Annette Mitchell says, well spoken, Wayne. Commissioner Preston will not please everybody. And we must realize he is only one person. As a community, we do need to support Commissioner Preston by showing up at those meetings. So you have a lot of people here, and I'm reading the comments directly as they come in that support you. And again, we know that people, that they're not going to agree with you all the time. And trust me, when they call us and they say things like this here, we take up for you. When you're right, we're going to defend you. When we think you're wrong, you're going to know it, because you're going to hear it from us. You know us.
I'm going to call him on the phone.
We don't sugarcoat anything when we talk to you.
You never have. You never have.
We never have, and we never will. And that goes for the mayor. That goes for all the other commissioners, the city manager. They know us. When you talk to us, it's straight up like a drink on the rocks with no chaser. That's how it is with us.
And that's the way that it should be. Your brother will tell you, Daryl, I said, coming onto this podcast, I said, Wayne, I said, ask the tough question. Did I not, Wayne?
Yes, you did. And I'm going to do that on or off the camera.
That's right. And so I know that, but I wanted to let you know that I wasn't going to run from anything, and that I welcome that challenge. Hey, listen, I'm the face of District 2. And one of the things that you said, that I'm only one vote. But you know what becomes my responsibility? What becomes my responsibility is to try to convince other people that this would be in the best interest of not only my district, but the city as well. Now, I want you to just think for a second. I want everybody out there to think about it. Just think about Juneteenth. It would be so easy for a city, a county, to say, yeah, let's commemorate it. Or other words, you just say something decorative and politically correct, and you move on. I dare to say, no, I want it official. Now, what's my chances? We know what Juneteenth is all about, and we know, you would think what community that would affect, but it actually affected all communities. And I asked for it to be effective. Guys, we started debating at about 10 o'clock at night, and we did not leave City Hall till about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
Okay. But guess what? When we took the vote, it was unanimous. Not one person voted against it. See, my point being that the person who sits in the seat has a responsibility to fight, to debate, to do all that he or she can to be able to improve the environment of communication to get things done. I can't use as an excuse to you, Daryl, or Wayne, because first of all, you guys wouldn't let me do that, saying, well, I can't get anything done because of that guy or this guy, because I know how you guys are. You're going to challenge me. Well, why'd you get in that seat? You're responsible to fight as much as you can to get some things done. we have evolved to the point, especially in District 2, where you can no longer use that as an excuse. You better use your debating skills, and you better do whatever you can do to get things done because people are watching you. They are watching. You can't go to the, well, you know, if it wasn't for these people at City Hall, I could really get something done. So, you know, I think that you guys, when you ask the tough questions, guess what comes with those questions? Pressure. Pressure on me. I don't want to get into any specifics here, but Daryl, you had a situation that we were talking about that involved some things with the police. And guess what? I had to ask some tough questions on the other side because I knew you to be credible. And, you know, so you can't sit in the seat and not, you know, take on challenges. And you can't say, you know what? I wish I could have got Juneteenth done. I wish I could have bought the pack of rattlers back. I wish we could have changed MLK Day to Monday. I mean, all those kinds of things. I wish, but you know what? They don't want to do it. Well, guess what? Ben Preston, when you run for office, you're saying that I will fight on your behalf as much as possible, that much as I possibly can to get things done on your behalf. That's my job. And I know that there are people out there say, well, he fought as hard as he could, and if it didn't happen, you know, he did. You have to first of all be convinced that the guy that's sitting there or the lady that's sitting in that chair is working for you. Okay, it's not about being in that position and being called a name. It's about getting things done. That's what it's about. At the end of the day, did you bring about any changes? That's it. Okay, the city has never had an African American Heritage Board. Never. But we do now.
Yeah.
We do now.
And let me say this. We want to, right here while we're live on Facebook, we want to thank the city of Deerfield Beach, the whole commission, the mayor, the city managers, all of the commissioners. You know, it was a tough decision. They found the money for the Tigner Center. We really appreciate that. You know, we really appreciate that. We fought hard. I talked to you about it. You know how passionate I was about that. So I want to live right here. I want to thank the city commissioners, the mayor, the city manager, everybody, you as well, that worked on that. We got more seating out at the Tigner Center that's going to be built, 300 seats, and that's about what the DoubleTree over there, 300 seats. Why would you not want to go head up with the DoubleTree? 300 seats over there, 300 seats at the Tigner Center. You could host your own events at the Tigner Center rather than to pay the taxpayers' dollars over at the DoubleTree. Hold it in your own building. Yeah, so absolutely. Again, that's something we want to thank the city commission for making that tough decision and doing the right thing. They did the right thing. We asked for it. They initially kind of backed away from it, but in the end, we got it done. Okay. Now, let me just say this, and I know it's been a hot topic, and you know where I'm going with this as well, with as far as the CRA, the cemetery. Right now, we don't even have a black cemetery. Well, we have a black cemetery. Let me just retract that statement. There's no burial spots out there in that cemetery, and at the rate people are dying now with COVID, that cemetery, Memorial Cemetery, is going to fill up awfully quick. And then you have people that have certain feelings due to how the past was, that they don't want to get buried over there and everything for whatever reason. But it is my opinion that I don't think the city of Deerfield wants to be in the cemetery business anymore of having cemeteries here. I think they really want to just point everybody over the fairway.
Well, Todd Drosky said he don't even know why the city is in the cemetery business. Commissioner of District 4, Commissioner Drosky said that.
Well, I'm going to say this. That's a great point. There are some things that we're looking at in terms of Pineview and a memorial as well. Now, you said that some people don't want to be buried at memorial for
past history. Past history.
Okay, right. Past. And let's not omit that. Let's for the viewers, let's talk about why that is. because the city of Deerfield Beach, our city, the one that Black residents pay taxes to, entered into an agreement with a racist. That's what happened. Okay. And that's
Tell
what
them what
happened.
happened. Tell them what happened, Commissioner.
Okay. I
And
will
why
tell
black
you.
people, why black people in District 2 don't feel like they are welcome or they would want to be buried over at Memorial Cemetery. Tell them the history.
But the history is way back, I want to say in the 30s. I actually have the declaration. I want to say back in the 30s, some land was dedicated to the city of Deerfield Beach. And it was basically dedicated on the premise that no black people, in other words, you can have this land for free, basically. But guess what? It comes with stipulation. And one of them is that no black people can ever be buried over here. Okay, so the city of Deerfield Beach entered into that agreement. And obviously we know how that offended so many people. And it came to light when Mayor Howard wanted to be buried over there, but this was on the books. And it caused a lot of attention to come to the city of Deerfield Beach in a very negative way. Now, I want to also say this, and any of the Facebook people that are watching this, especially for those who think that I'm not watching these sort of things, I called the city attorney in, as well as the city manager, and we attacked that. And it was read at a city commission meeting. All that racist language was taken away, all of it. I had it cleaned up, and it does not exist anymore. Okay, that was introduced at a city commission meeting. So I'm aware of those kinds of things. Anybody, if you are black in the city of Deerfield Beach and you lose a loved one, I understand, what it is to lose someone that you love. And when you lose someone, you don't want to be having to deal with the fact that now you're saying that based on my race or whatever, I can or cannot be buried there. That does not exist anymore. Memorial is open to everybody in the city of Deerfield Beach. Now, one of the things that I proposed was that we have some meetings with Fairway Memorial. And my idea was to meet with Fairway Memorial, and they're the ones that are located out over off of Green Road, right, the cemetery over there. And so that if we had an agreement with them, and my suggestion would be just to explore, what about if we were to purchase 5 acres, or just see what they could do for us in terms of knowing the crisis that we're going to face. Okay. The prices have gone up over at Memorial because we have not changed our prices in over 25 years, and we don't have the funds to be able to take care of our cemetery like we need to. And so the prices had to be changed. Guess what? They wanted to do it in one swift move. I opposed it, and they were able to do 50%, and then there was another 50%. We had workshops. Do you know who asked for those workshops? It was I. Okay, and I was able to get those workshops so that people could come out and talk about the situation, and we could come to an agreement. And so, unfortunately, I wanted to see it done, the escalating changes in the price be done over a period of time. The commission outvoted me on that, okay? But they also said, okay, we don't have to do it because the votes were there to do it all in one swoop. But I was able to, to make an adjustment there. And so I will continue, to keep my eyes on things like that. Again, Daryl, where there can be change, I look to get that change. I'm not saying that it is easy. It is challenging. It would be a lot easier if more people came to commission meetings and were able to support, what's going on in our community. But I have to say, you and Daryl, you and Wayne, those kind of, but we need more. We need more. Bottom line, you can't have just a couple of people speaking on multiple issues. But guess what? Those voices are still important. And with the cemetery situation, it is not exactly what I wanted, but that's where we are. We're looking at getting mausoleums that we don't know where that's going to go, but mausoleums over at Pineview, so that we incorporate a piece of land, like maybe push a street back and then build mausoleums over there. So there's a couple things that are right now being in the works as far as possibilities. And we'll just see how that unfolds.
Yeah, and those are issues that aren't going to go away. The CRA over in District 2, it's not going to go away. More burial space in District 2, or more burial space in Deerfield Beach, that's not going to go away. And certainly the amphitheater. These are issues that this community, the citizens here want, and these issues are not going to go away. But, if the elected officials think it's just going to go away, this is what the people want, not just here in Deerfield, District 2, but throughout this city. These issues aren't going to go away, and they're going to keep on coming up, and you're going to eventually have to address them. And if you don't address them, then that's when you go to the polls and you make your voices heard at the polls.
That's right. I would tell you this. I would encourage people to take on those issues, because what were the chances? Now think about it. You know what the first meeting was like when you guys brought up about expanding the banquet hall in the Johnny Tigner Center. You know what the flavor of that was. If there was a vote taken right then and there, it would not have passed, and you know that. Okay, but you guys stuck with it. I fought for it. I spoke for it. And then guess what? And you're right, Daryl, because other people other than in District 2 wrote in and started saying, that's the right thing to do. So you're 100% right. So then what happened? Well, what happened was that the commission started to look at that thing differently, and you only need 3 votes. And we got those 3 votes. And guess what? You now have something that can rival the DoubleTree. Okay, so for those who say you're not going to get anything done, you don't know that unless you try. So I'm challenging you to come to meetings with ideas about how you can have things better in your city, whatever it is. Whether we're addressing issues about the CRA, where we're addressing issues about the cemetery, you might have some good ideas, and we might be able to get those ideas through, but we'll never know if you don't come. So there is an open invitation for you all to come to the meetings, make your voices heard, make those commissioners and city staff see that you have a heart for this city and that you're not going to say no. Let me tell you, I was so happy when we got that increase. Yes, it was $1 million more.
Yes.
$1 million is not a little bit of money.
It's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. And everybody said no. You had commissioners saying, that's a lot. But you know what? Because they heard the voices of the people, we got the three votes. And let me tell you,
not just 2 or 3 people.
That's right. And so now, as they construct the new Tigner Center, it's going to have that increase. And let me also tell you that in the Tigner Center, there will be a lot of initiatives coming out of there, mentoring programs coming out of there that I fought for. And the Tigner Center is going to also have a BSO substation. I asked about that. I talked with BSO about that, about putting that in. They did not fight me. They said, let us look at this, blah, blah, blah. They got back and said, okay, Commissioner, that would be a good thing. And guess what? That's a done deal now. You don't know unless you come out and you fight for these things.
Yes, and back to what you were saying about the cemetery, the rates were, if I'm exact, the rates were raised 145%, Vice Mayor.
That's exactly what I brought up at the meeting.
And you argued very passionately about that. If anyone wants to go back and see, they can go back on YouTube and watch how passionate the Vice Mayor was arguing against those rates. And I think a lot of people not noticing right now, but if hopefully no one dies in their family, but they will in the future, if everything goes as planned, they're going to see that massive increase.
That's for sure.
It's not a drop in the bucket.
It's not a drop in the bucket. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Okay. We have been speaking to Commissioner Ben Preston. He was very gracious and setting aside. We told him an hour, but it's almost an hour and a half now to come over here on this podcast, because he know every time we could say an hour, and once we start talking, whether it's in person or on the phone or on social media or whatever, we have extensive conversation. It never goes at a half an hour or 45 minutes. It always goes over because we have positive dialogue. And if you have anything, questions that you want Commissioner Preston to address, he gave you his number, and call him and tell him, no, just give, work with the man, and everything. Give him your number again, Commissioner Preston.
954-728-5886.
Okay, there's the number right there. If you have any concerns, call him. He's not one of those commissioners that'll let his phone fill up, and then, once the phone fills up with voicemails, you can't leave a message. That's what they teach a lot of people in a lot of these cities. They teach you, they not teach you, they tell you this is how you get around answering the calls and, saying that you didn't get this voice message. They tell you in a roundabout way to just let it fill up, not here. I'm just saying all over the place, not just here.
Excuse me, Daryl. I'm not going to tell you who, but you are 100% right, because that's what was told to me.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Commissioner, he's not one of those commissioners that if you call him, he won't call you back. He's not done that to me, and I don't believe he would do it to you. So let's support him. If you're not happy with the job that he's doing, go to the polls and you vote. And that's how you correct the situation like that. So we're going to have some more dialogue here. We're not going to keep you much longer. We know it's dinner time, and we want to thank you for coming on the Adams Brothers Podcast, and all of our viewers, thank you for tuning in. We're going to be having a lot more live interviews here on Facebook. We are streaming live now, and if any of your colleagues, the mayor, if they want to come on here, we've been trying to get them on here, but they've been, for whatever reason, they haven't appeared on here, and we're going to
think that they should. I think
they should. They should.
My personal opinion.
They should.
And I can't, make a decision for them, but I think that they should. I think that it's the right thing to do is to come on. And guess what? Yes, you guys have a reputation for asking some very tough questions, and you probably make some people feel uncomfortable. But guess what? Once you run for public office, you know what? You have to answer. And let me tell you, if you turn on the news tonight, any interviewer that was interviewing a politician, unless it was pre-scripted, they're going to ask tough questions. That's what they're supposed to do. And if you didn't ask tough questions, what is this? I mean, what is this? It's not truly, informative, and nor is it really a podcast. This is just something that you could have saved yourself time and did something else. You're supposed to ask the tough questions. Are they challenging? Yeah, some of the questions are pretty challenging, but I can tell you this: it's necessary. It's necessary that they're asked. And I want to tell you guys, I appreciate the opportunity to come on. if there is ever a situation where you need me to explain something, I want to let you guys know that the doors of communication are open. I will say this, if any of my colleagues might be looking, I will say this about the Adams brothers. Here's what I would say. They're fair, okay? They're fair in their questioning. You may not like a lot of their questions, but they're fair. The questions they ask are not unfair. Take it from someone who have gone through it. It will not be breaking the sunshine law if you, any of my colleagues want to call me and just ask me, because we're not going to vote on this, ask me what it's like, I will tell you, this is something that you should do. Go on, talk to them. You'll feel uncomfortable sometime when they ask you a certain question, but that's okay. That's the name of the game.
You have to ask uncomfortable questions in order to get things done. It's not
That's
always
right.
going to be an easy conversation, especially when you come on this podcast, because we don't play with them when they come on here. We're gonna ask them tough questions, and if you don't want to be asked tough questions, then the Adams Brothers Podcast is not a podcast you want to come on.
That's right.
Yeah. Wayne, I think Wayne has a final question for you,
Okay.
Commissioner.
Actually, it's not even a question. It's just, I just want to let everyone know that Deerfield Beach High has selected my dad, Bernard Adams, as to go in on their Wall of Fame, I believe it's called. I believe he's going to be inducted into the Wall of Fame for his contributions to the community of Deerfield, the Packer Rattlers, the whole city. I believe it's going to be in May. They're going to have a ceremony for him. So I just want to let everyone watching.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, we have been talking to Vice Mayor Commissioner Ben Preston. He is the commissioner here in District 2 in Deerfield Beach. We want to thank you for coming on the Adams Brothers Podcast. You're never a stranger. Anytime we ask you to come on, or you call us and say, hey, I want to come on and there's something I want to talk about, you're always welcome to come on this podcast, as well as your colleagues. They haven't been on yet, but we're going to keep on until they come on here, and we're not going to stop asking them. So wherever they are, they're going to see our face eventually, and we're going to ask them to come on here, and it's not going to stop until they do. So, Commissioner, thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to come by and talk to us. And we want you to have a wonderful rest of your evening. And thank all of our viewers for watching on Facebook Live. And we will be back here real soon with some more interesting podcast interviews and conversations. Thank you, Commissioner, and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening, sir.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you. Podcast interviews and conversations. Thank you, Commissioner, and have a